I was half an hour early to the white brick carriage house I'd rented in Middlebury, Vermont, but the October dusk was already folding itself around the birches like a blanket. The production lights I'd ordered stood waiting in their tripod legs, leaning against the pebble-dash wall like excited greyhounds. My palms were sweating, though the air was crisp enough to plume my damn breath. Tonight wasn't just an OnlyFans shoot. It was the collaboration. After months of private messages traded between me and the man whose username simply read Hollis East, we decided that Vermont foliage, and the reputation of Middlebury's strictly liberal privacy laws, would witness our debut. I killed the engine, caught my own anxious grin in the rearview mirror, and whispered, "This is it, Elwood. No turning back." Because yes, my name is Elwood, never trendy, always sincere, and sincerity is precisely what had drawn Hollis to my channel in the first place. Before I continue, hey, gorgeous souls! You've just clicked on a love story in the making. Before the heat even rises, do the simple magic. Smash that like button, tap subscribe, share with a friend who believes in real intimacy, and drop a comment telling us where in the world you're watching from. If this chapter stirs you and you ghost the buttons, trust me, you'll feel the sting of missing out later. Sparkles. I stepped out, keyed the cottage door, and felt the warmth of cast iron radiators. 2 floors, open loft, skylight pointed at Orion. Perfect. I lit 3 soy candles on the sill. Sandalwood, bergamot, vanilla. My casual aura. Through the living room window arrayed with ivy, I saw headlights crunch up the gravel. The high beams cut, and a pristine midnight blue Pontiac Tempest, vintage 1963, rolled to a halt. My pulse revved in tandem. The driver's door swung wide. Out stepped Hollis in a suede trucker jacket the color of cinnamon toast, slate-gray chinos hugging long legs, and a navy fisherman's beanie. Even in fading light, I caught the moss green of his eyes. He looked nothing like the airbrushed thumbnails that flood the platform. He looked lived in, like the pages of a favorite paperback. "Place looks storybook," he said, voice dipped in Georgia molasses. "So do you," I replied, suddenly boyish. His brows quirked. "We've typed 1,000 sentences, but that one's my favorite." I invited him in. The firebox was already roaring, its amber tongues turning his cheekbones into sculpture. We set down our bags, mine packed with tripods, softboxes, and a single bottle of artisan lube. His, I later learned, with Burt's Bees lip balm and 3 vintage Polaroid cameras, for candor. No production crew. Just 2 men, 2 cameras, and a readiness that felt preordained. Hollis unzipped 1 Polaroid and loaded film while I adjusted a ring light to its lowest warmth. The plan, capture candid stills before switching to 4K, letting viewers feel like confidants rather than voyeurs. "Tell me something unfiltered," he said, winding the crank. I swallowed. "I'm terrified that I'll enjoy tonight so much it ruins casual hookups forever." A quiet laugh. "I don't do casual. I do deliberate." He raised the camera. The first click shuddered, a square word out, and he slid it face down onto the coffee table to develop. "Your turn," he challenged. I lifted my own DSLR, framed his jawline, and found my voice. "Tilt your chin, Hollis. And confess." He did. "I haven't done a collab in 2 years. Every subscriber's been asking why." I told them, "I'm saving my next one for someone worth seeing in person." The shutter snapped. My lungs knotted like spool thread. Another soy candle waned, its wax pooling. The room now smelled like spiced forests and sugared citrus, an olfactory prelude to chemistry. Then technology disappeared. We were 2 silhouettes in firelight, standing close enough for shared breath but not touching. Anticipation is the longest, loveliest stanza, and we let it rhyme. Hollis's fingers traced my shirt hem, hesitating like a pianist above ivory. "May I?" "Yes," I said, simple and sulfurious. He peeled the fabric upward. Vermont air kissed my ribs. I felt gooseflesh bloom, a million skin petals opening toward him. He pressed his palm to my sternum. I did the same, sliding beneath his suede, feeling the furnace of his body. Somewhere in the cottage's rafters, a knot settled. We were not strangers. We were choices converging. "Let's capture this," I murmured, retrieving the wide-angle lens. He nodded, hit record, and we met at the center of the rug like magnets. First kisses are often frantic. Ours was a landing. Lips meeting, testing pressure, parting, then settling deeper. Hollis tasted of spearmint and road trip coffee. I angled his beanie off, combed fingers through wheat-brown curls. He rewarded me with a low note, a hum that vibrated against my tongue. The camera's red tally light blinked approval. "Take them with us," he whispered, glancing toward the viewers he couldn't see. I knew what he meant. Intimacy shared freely but guided respectfully. So I narrated softly into the mic. "Feel how his thumb circles my hip bone, slow, deliberate. Feel how each inhale sinks us." My subscribers adored sensory play-by-play. It kept them present, appreciative, not just consuming. Hollis cupped my jaw. "Keep talking," he breathed. "But keep kissing." I did both, weaving language between us, describing the way his lower lip fit between my teeth, the way his spine arched when I grazed my nails down the concave of his back. We drifted to the sofa, shedding layers like burnt pages. Hollis's belt clinked onto hardwood. My jeans followed, pooling at ankles before being surrendered to shadows. Boxers remained, barriers of the flimsiest sort. He paused, looking at me the way poets look at skyline horizons. Grateful, awestruck, certain it's a once-in-a-lifetime gradient. "Do you feel rushed?" he asked. "No," I said. "I feel recognized." The compliment made his lashes flutter. He grazed knuckles over my boxer front, not quite pressure, just promise. I bit my lower lip, steadying. We angled the camera, adjusting focus so the shot framed shoulders to knees, enough to hint, not yet reveal. Viewership loves a slow crescendo, so do hearts. He kissed the inward slope of my neck, following a vein down to my clavicle. I inhaled through teeth. My hand threaded lower, stroking over suede jacket still half on him, half slipped. I loved the tactile contrast. Rough hide, then smooth heat of skin below. He shifted, aligning our hips, fabric friction igniting nerve endings. We both groaned. I glanced at the monitor. Composition perfect. Even the flames behind us danced, flickering amber rim light around our torsos. W.E. left narration to viewers' near whisper which read, "If this tenderness sets your pulse thrumming, prove it. Hit like, hit share, and type the city you're watching from. We want to map this desire across continents." A soft vibration on the coffee table signaled new tips rolling in, notifications lighting the phone screen. Viewers were already succumbing to the CTA, and to us. I lowered Hollis to the sheepskin rug, kneeling above him. His pupils eclipsed iris, twin dark moons. The camera captured each shallow rise of his chest. I traced a fingertip down the center of his sternum, over faint freckles, stopping at the elastic of his underwear. Beneath, I felt movement, a pulse, a plea. "Edge me," he murmured, voice scarcely audible. "Hold me right there." I complied, palming him through cotton, applying measured strokes. He closed his eyes, throat working, breath staccato. I stole a kiss and whispered, "Say my name, Hollis." "Elwood." The syllables spilled out on a groan, and I felt the heat of him leap in my hand. We stayed like that. Me in control, him surrendering to the pleasure that hovered just shy of explosion. The rug, the fire, the camera, the autumn wind rattling latticed windows, all colluded to amplify the moment. He opened watery eyes. "Your turn," he said, flipping us deftly. Now his palm commanded me, mirrored my rhythm. Static electricity snapped between us, small sparks grazing thigh hair. I hissed. He smiled, intent. The red tally light witnessed everything, yet the room felt private, a confessional of flesh. I fetched the artisan bottle, warmed a dollop between palms. Hollis watched, chest heaving, comprehension dawning in the half-smile tugging his lips. "Ready?" I asked, meaning not just physically but emotionally. "Been ready since you first DM'd me," he confessed. I leaned down, capturing his mouth, letting slick hands roam. His boxer waistband gave a soft elastic sigh, and I freed him. He reciprocated. 2 bare bodies. No more preamble. The screen framed us in chiaroscuro. Our sighs harmonized with pine logs crackling. And just as our bodies aligned, just as the voyeuristic hush before union shivered through me, I reached toward the lens, tapped the focus ring, and murmured to my unseen audience, "Stay tuned, lovers. The next heartbeat brings everything you've hoped we'd share." I could feel the anticipation thicken between us like syrup. His fingers, still lightly dusted with warmth from mine, mapped slow circles over my chest. It wasn't hurried. He wasn't trying to conquer anything. He was discovering, observing my reactions, letting silence speak. "Touch means something here," he said, as if reading my mind. "Doesn't it?" I nodded. My mouth was too full of ache and desire to reply, but I let him see everything in my eyes. I leaned in and kissed his shoulder. Not his mouth this time, his shoulder, where people carry the weight of the world. He sighed into it. I trailed my lips down to his bicep, then to the soft groove of his inner elbow. He flinched at the sensitivity, laughing in that husky, boyish way that made me want to bottle the sound forever. The fire snapped behind us. The camera caught the arch of his back as he slid down beneath me, and the way my hand threaded into his. We moved like that for minutes, just skin against skin, breath sinking, hearts hammering louder than the storm building outside. My hand stayed on his chest, not in dominance, but in reverence. His stayed at the base of my spine, like a grounding wire. Every time I shifted, he followed. Every time I gasped, he matched it with a ah. We were in a rhythm, one that wasn't choreographed for cameras but born of instinct. Of long messages. Of voice notes. Of 2 men who'd waited long enough to make it mean something. I turned the camera slightly. We'd moved to the rug fully now, leaving clothes in careless trails. The softness beneath us cradled our bare limbs. I felt him tremble, not out of fear or nerves, but something deeper. A nervous joy. "I didn't think I'd get here again," he murmured, barely audible over the wind. "Where's here?" I asked, brushing hair from his face. "Trusting someone this much. Being looked at the way you look at me." He was right. I wasn't looking at him like a scene partner or a performer. I was looking at him the way I had looked at his first message, when he complimented my slow burn approach, and said, "You make it feel like church and danger at the same time." So I touched him gently, never needing to rush. He turned his head slightly, brushing his nose against mine. The kind of closeness where eyelids meet eyelids. "Stay," he whispered. "I will." The kiss this time was deeper, less theatrical, more honest. I could feel the tension in his spine melt. My hand on his hip held him, anchored him. We moved, not in any sudden thrusting or panting, but in waves. We let the heat rise gradually, letting gasps replace words. We didn't narrate anymore. Some things don't need dialogue. They just need presence. Somewhere between one kiss and the next, I felt it, that snap of emotional gravity pulling us tighter, where you can't tell if the ache in your chest is from arousal or affection. Our bodies were aligned, skin to skin, legs tangled, every movement deliberate. He gripped my hand tighter, pressing it to his heart like a vow. And then, the rhythm picked up, still not graphic, still sacred. But there was an urgency to how he wrapped around me. How our breaths came faster, sharper. Our foreheads pressed. Our noses touched. We moved like tide and moon, in orbit. His voice cracked when he said my name. I whispered his back into his mouth. And then, release. Not in a crude sense, but in a collapse. A surrender. We both let go. Into the moment. Into each other. Into silence. For a long while, There was nothing but our breathing. The fire. The soft creak of the floorboards under shifting weight. My arm under his neck. His fingers tracing invisible lines over my collarbone like he was still sketching me. The camera was still rolling when Hollis sat up, kissed my cheek, and smiled like he'd just remembered something beautiful. "You look dazed," he said. "I feel like someone just took my chest apart and rearranged everything inside." He laughed gently, leaned over, and stopped the recording. We lay together for a bit, staring at the wood beams of the ceiling, neither speaking, just soaking. Eventually, I reached over and turned the camera back on, one final clip for the viewers. And I said, "Hey, you stayed. You watched every minute of this. That means you felt it too, right? So please, like this video. Comment below. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us what it made you feel. We're just two guys who let the cameras in for one night of something real. But you're part of it now. And we don't take that lightly. Subscribe. Share. Come back for more. Not just for skin but for soul. This isn't just content. This is connection." Hollis turned his head, kissing my shoulder again. "I don't want this to be a one-time thing," he said quietly. "It won't be," I promised. He smiled into my chest. We fell asleep like that. Tangled, warm, the fire now down to embers. Sunlight crept in like a visitor through the loft windows. Hollis was already awake, tracing his Polaroids across the wooden floor. "You kept them," I said, still groggy. "Every single one." He held one up, me bare-chested, candlelight licking the edge of my jaw. "You look like you're praying in this." Maybe I was. We made coffee. Sat wrapped in one blanket. Read viewer comments aloud. Many from places we'd never even heard of. Watching from Juneau, Alaska. Cried during the scene under the firelight. Thank you for showing love this way. This healed something in me I didn't know was broken. Subscribed forever. He turned to me. We did that. I nodded. And then he reached for his phone, looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You ready to announce it?" "What?" "That I'm done solo. I want to make us the channel." I grinned. "Say it on camera." So we did. We went back on camera. Still barefoot. Still in each other's clothes. Hollis had slipped into my oversized gray hoodie. I wore his cinnamon-colored suede jacket, now smelling faintly of sandalwood and something uniquely him. We sat close on the love seat, shoulders pressed, steam rising from twin coffee mugs. The red tally light blinked again, but this time, it didn't feel like a watcher. It felt like a friend we were letting in on the news. Hollis cleared his throat. "Okay, so, hi." He laughed nervously. "This is going to sound sudden, but it's not. It's just finally happening." I leaned into frame. "We're turning this channel into something bigger than just me. Or him. We're making it ours." Hollis added, "Not just collabs. Not just scenes. But real stories, real moments, and yeah, some fire content too. But always with heart. Always with intention. To our audience directly. So if you felt something during our first night, if you saw a spark and not just skin, stay. Subscribe. Comment. Share this with someone who's been craving something real. And seriously, drop your location in the comments. Let's see how far this love travels. I read the first notification that buzzed through. Subscribed from Oaxaca, Mexico. Watching in tears. This is what I've been looking for. Hollis turned to me. You ready for the real world now? Only if it has you in it. We left the cottage later that afternoon. The drive down from Middlebury was quiet. No music, just the low hum of the Pontiac's engine and Hollis's hand on my knee. Trees whirred past, their leaves golden and dramatic, like nature itself had blessed the union. At a rest stop near Waterbury, we parked under a maple and pulled out our phones. He opened Instagram and posted a photo of me kissing his temple with the caption, "He's not a guest on my page. He's the other half of it now." Hashtag Holwood. Our fans had already started merging our names. The post blew up in minutes. The comments came flooding in. "I've watched you both for months. This feels like a season finale and a new pilot all at once. Two men loving gently, publicly, and beautifully? Subscribed for eternity." We pulled off the road to read them together, each word wrapping around our hearts like soft rope. I turned to him, the setting sun painting streaks of orange across his face. "Do you realize what we're doing?" "Yeah," he whispered. "We're making soft things sacred again." That night, back at my place in Northampton, we didn't film. Not because we didn't want to, but because some things are too tender to be shared immediately. We cooked pasta, danced barefoot to a vinyl crackling in the background, and took turns reading each other's old journals. He read mine aloud with reverence. "Elwood, age 19. I want to be loved like I'm someone's answer, not their experiment." He looked up. "You are." We fell asleep fully clothed, my face tucked into his hoodie, his palm pressed over my heart like it was something fragile and sacred. 1 month later, the channel exploded. Not from shock value, not from scandal, but from feelings. Our audience came for intimacy and stayed for devotion. They commented things like, "This channel doesn't just get me hot, it gets me hopeful. My boyfriend and I watched your firelight scene and held each other after. You reminded us of who we were before life got loud." We released a new series called The Slow Burn. A mix of real couple vlogs. We shared stories of first love, heartbreak, and healing. We tastefully sensual scenes wrapped in candlelight and narrative. We also read alouds of subscriber love letters. And did Q&As on healthy intimacy. Each video ended with, like, comment where you're watching from, and share if we moved you. Don't ghost this feeling. Stay with us. They did. 100K subscribers in 6 weeks. One crisp evening, we returned to that same cottage in Middlebury. For nostalgia. For filming. For us. The rug still remembered us. We recreated the firelight shot. Same hoodie, same jacket, same soy candles. But this time, the energy was quieter. Not nervous. Just right. "Let's end tonight like we began," Hollis said softly, lifting the camera. He filmed me sitting in the exact same spot as our first video. Then he joined me, and we looked into the lens together. "You were there when we took our first breath as US. And now you're part of every heartbeat after. Like, comment, subscribe, and never settle for love that doesn't look like this." Months passed. We kept creating, living, laughing. Our fans sent us wedding invitations, letters, art, stories of coming out, of healing, of rediscovering trust. But the biggest surprise came one morning. I walked into our home studio to find Hollis sitting on a stool, a Polaroid in one hand, a ring box in the other. The caption on the picture read, "This is what ready looks like." I didn't need a speech. I just said yes. Please. If you read or watched this far, it means you didn't just want something hot. You wanted something true. So here's your call. Like this video. Comment where you're watching from. Subscribe and share this with one friend who's forgotten what tenderness feels like. Because maybe you needed this. And maybe we needed you. Welcome to the slow burn. We're just getting started.